Um, okay, guys. Welcome to a new series, on a game called Doodle Empires. Now, right, first thing that you're gonna say is, hey, Caleb, there's an update that's coming out soon that's gonna, like, mess with all your save files and that. Why are you starting a series? And, I actually just have it straight as a file, so it doesn't really matter because I can just not download the next update. So, yeah. Um, Well, without any further ado, then let's get straight into it. So obviously we're going for an Earth map. Right, let the game begin. Alright, so I want to know where to start civilization. I haven't actually done an Americas start yet, so I think we'll go with that. And we'll start in Florida. Florida. They start in the swamps. They start to push up. Maybe they start pushing up to whatever this river is. And then they stop, and then they push up to that river. And then they, like, start pushing around this way to that river. And then they just push over here to that river, and then they just keep going and following the rivers. And then they advance into this one, and then start to colonize the Bahamas. And maybe they get a colony in the north of Cuba. Well, I mean, there's so many different nations to choose from. And then they get a large expand. So they will finish off their Cuban colony and finish off the rest of these islands, then starting to make a push into Texas. They then go all the way round and start to wrap around the coast. And then they will have a split. And what better thing to have happen than to have Mexico split away? Yeah, so Mexico will split away from the, what do you call it, the Florida people, and will start to push once again up rivers. They then push up this river, and then that's it, actually, because I do want them to still exist. And then Florida gets, oh, that was laggy, medium expand up into here. And then they keep going across these, like, 13 colonies or areas. And they get all the way up almost to New York, and that kind of area. Mexico then gets a large expand. And they expand right into the Yucatan, and then slightly further down, and then they start to wrap around. And then we get a new nation. Now, where to put it is the real question. I think maybe we go like Argentina, and then like work it way up. So let's go with that. I wish I called them Sargentina. Argentina. Da, 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 da. Please don't ask. I'm not braining today. But yeah, so they will start their own country and start to push up to rivers. So he is a hill dweller, which is interesting. And then we get another new nation. Maybe this time we have California. And maybe we do California in pink. Like nicer pink. There you go. Right, that's California going in. So they'll obviously get the Baja, California area as well as like South California. Argentina, well, Argentina? I can't speak today. This is Argentina, Caleb. Argentina will then get a large expand. We'll start to expand further north. Then Florida will have a small split. And this time Cuba will break away. So Cuba, and we'll start taking some of these islands with them. In fact, just taking the whole Caribbean. And then starting to push into the southern islands of the Bahamas. Argentina will then get a small expand. Will start to expand once they have finished pushing up to this river. Will expand into the hills. Florida will then get a small expand and will reclaim the Bahamas and these islands here, along with Jamaica, starting a war into Jamaica, trying to de-exist the Cubans. The Argentinians get a new leader. Mexico will then have a split, and perhaps we have Central America breaking away. And then Central America will be our new religious hub, founding Bluistic. So they will be our first religion in this early age. Central America will then get a large expand and start to expand down to Panama, reaching the Darien Gap and crossing no further. It will then start to expand into the other side of Mexico, actually pushing very far into Mexico and just being like the opposite side of Mexico. Cuba will then get a large expand as they fight back for control. They will then kick them out of the Bahamas and will basically say, don't do that again to the Floridas. They will then start to colonize some of this land down south. Then Mexico will get a large expand, and we will push them up to this river, and then up to this river, and we will start to push them around into that area. Florida will then build a castle. Florida man's house. Not a gouse, a house. The Florida man's house we've built. California will then get a small expand. We'll do so much. Central America will then get another small expand, and this time they will start to push around this side. Starting to annex the mountains into their land. Also starting to push up here to rival the Californians. But all good things can't always last, and soon enough, West Mexico will break free from the Central Americans. Starting all the way up here in the California area and then continuing to push down. West Mexico will then get a medium expand and will start to push back once again against the Central Americans. They will then, well, there's no other religion for them to adopt, so they have to stay Bluistic. And then Mexico will get a small expand, finishing off the little pockets of their troops, and then seizing the time to make an invasion, starting to kick them out, forming a massive encirclement. However, then these Mexico people will start to split apart, with northwest Mexico forming. And that's like a kind of goldy colour. Then Florida will get a new leader, and Cuba will found their own religion, called Purpleism. Purpleism plus minus? I don't think so. Cuba will then get a medium expand, and will start to expand its colonies on the South American coast. They will get yet another medium expand. Did I like lock them or something though? By accident. No. Oh, okay, an age of division has begun. And just like that, Mexico has a small split. Texas will start to break away because they're Texas. Bro, the lag is insane. Who got a small split? Oh, the small split was still going, that's why. Okay, well, Texas just looks like it's a whole bunch of rebels, and then... Yeah, how about... No, because that doesn't even make any sense. Argentina... I keep calling them Argentina, or something like that, and it's just not right. South Argentina. Yep, that's totally how that works. Just like can rebel off their homeland. Oh, split still going, split still going. Central America will then adopt bluistic again. Argentina. I keep doing that. They're not Argentina. Argentina will found tealism. Central America will then get a medium expand and will push back Mexico slightly, reconnecting with that encirclement. They will then come out here and colonize the Galapagos and parts of this area of South America. California gonna have a split. So obviously Baja will form. Then South Argentina, oh my god, that was so glitchy. We'll then get an expand. And then West Mexico will also get a small expand. This time pushing into Northwest Mexico. Cuba will then get a split, with Venezuela breaking itself free. Venezuela, yeah. Oh, I probably should have went Colombia. Yeah, I think I might just rename to Colombia, because Colombia actually used to hold some of this land. Yeah, nah, sorry. Colombia? Okay. Right. Oh no, crap, it started doing that thing, because I didn't hit the thing. You hit that, that stops it. Right, now Cuba will then get a new leader. And Baja will get a small split. Well, that's just unhelpful. Where can I split them? Californian Baja. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. Californian Baja. Because the parts of Baja California that are... Well, that was just a very small split. How about no? Because that will break the game. How about Baja then just like completely retakes that? And then takes this. And then like just they just. And how about Cuba like builds Puerto Rico? And then a new nation will form. This time maybe we go Alberta. Yeah, we're naming Canadian provinces now. So yeah, Alberta will form. I think Alberta's somewhere over here, right? West Mexico will then have a small split. Do 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 do. South, West Mexico. Do 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 do. Right, now finally, Cuba will get a union. Well, someone will get a union, is just kind of what I meant. They will unite with Central America. Which should just mean that the origin mode is... Oh, right, because we've got California and Alberta. But other than that, it is all Florida. Okay, yet another new nation. Why does Texas always just keep getting new nation? The Great Lakes. No. Michigan. Yup, Michigan will form. I don't know very much about Michigan, but yeah, it's gonna form, guys. You not excited? I honestly don't know the US opinions on Michigan, so yeah. Venezuela will then get a union, and there's not very many people that they could unite with. But they will actually get a colony in Mexico, and I've just realised that they are the exact same colour as the Mexican country. And also their name wasn't Venezuela, it was Colombia. Columbusia? I cannot type. Right. Northwest Mexico will found its own religion. It being these 3 pixels here, these 2 pixels, and these 2 pixels. Will found its own religion. Sorry, that's just my little brother. Orangistic will be formed by these lot. So if we look on the faith mode, there's those tiny little specks of orange. Specsavers. Who said that? Texas will then have a split, and we'll just have terrorism. No, tribes. Tribes. And tribes will be represented by the color brown. But this is just a few tribes, you know? Like just a few tribes. Northwest Mexico will then build a castle. Fort Orange. Was my amazing smell of orange. California will somehow have a small split. Except there's not enough land. So they won't. California will then have a split, except I just did that and said that they won't. I'm sorry, what did I say? What did I say? Okay, now there's an Age of Unity. And then Michigan has a split. Age of Unity, but Michigan has a split. Okay. Hang on one second while I figure out what to name this country. Okay, so Lake Superior country, I think. So maybe we just go Superior. Why is there a lake named Lake Superior? Honestly, that just sounds kind of mean to literally every other lake. And they will actually start to push down near to Ontario Lake. Yes, I just learned all about those. Okay, and then the Venezuelans with the... You know what, they'll just start expanding this colony, sure. Why not? Florida will then get a medium expand and start to expand out this way. Pushing once again down the coast and getting all the way up to there. Very Florida getting long. Texas founds its own religion. We'll go with yellow like. Yeah, yellow like. Alberta will then get a union. And perhaps they unite with Lake Superior? And Michigan will then unite with Alberta, forming this ultimate little empire right here. South Argentina will then have a split, and well, I don't know enough about Argentina to split them. West Mexico will then get a large expand and will kick the butts of those colonizers, and will then seize this piece of land from these lot and this tile, and then they will start to push into the hills of Mexico. And then Baja will somehow have a split, and perhaps we go river country tribe thing. Because yeah, I'm useless with American geography. Like I have no clue what that river is. Texas will then get a large expand, and they will start to expand because they just said that they got a large expand. Northwest Mexico will then get a small expand and will once again re-seize the coast. This time seizing a lot of the coast. And then claiming all of these little bits of land. And then maybe they claim this and this, like port city thing. Maybe they like claim this region. Maybe they claim these islands. Maybe they claim these islands. Maybe they conquer the southern tip. What do you mean by that? Maybe they grab up a bit more. Maybe they grab that and that port. And they grab that port and 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 that port. And at this point, they're basically just Venice, but just not in Venice. And maybe they start to like expand out from their influence in these ports. They start to form this like coastal empire where they're all just like connecting up. And they start like connecting up all these ports. This is all just like individual like lord marriages. Northwest Mexico will then get a union on the Baja Californians. And from now on they will be called the Orange Religious State. Religious State. And their colour will obviously be changed to orange. California. Okay, no, new nation. Okay, well that was sad. Thought we were gonna start to see California, but no. Instead, we just got that. So let's go with Brazil. 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 Brazil is mine. How dare you insult my Brazil? Brazil is mine. Thank you very much. Because they're conquerors and mountaineers. Well, that's just unhelpful because I put them on the least mountainous side. Okay, then they are going to get a small split. Obviously, it will be Central America that breaks free. They've had enough of life under Cuban reign and want to be free once again. California will finally do something. They'll get a small expand. They'll start to push into that area, into like Oregon. And Brazil will get to keep going around its coast. Argentina will get a large expand and start to expand into this area. And then Cuba will get a small expand and will start to expand into this area and start to push the Central Americans back in this area. But then the Central Americans will get a union with Mexico. And they will obviously be under Mexico and not Central America. Will obviously be Mexico. So then Mexico will found their own religion, known as Brownism. Maybe I'll make them all brown. Then Argentina will get a small expand. Will start to keep expanding into that nice little fat bit. Florida, they get another medium expand. They start to push around. They're practically like Roman Empire, and then these lot will get a large expand, and will and then they declare war on Mexico, which isn't good. Meanwhile, they will then absolutely clobber off the Venezuelans, leaving them to basically just a couple of islands. For Orange, Orange will then build a castle, and then Baja's tip, because if they want to control the flow of goods into California and all the new civilizations that are about to pop up there, hint, 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 they'll probably want a fort there. And Mexicans will then build Yucatan port. Then, okay, no, new nation. And just as I said, Alaska will form. Alaska! Now I want to go to Alaska! And obviously, Alaska will just be down the Alaskan coast and then maybe pushing all the way into Oregon. And then, like, yeah. Yeah, if anyone wants to control the flow of goods to them, then it's their job, you know? Florida will then get a medium expand once again. I love how there's, like, massive Florida that won't split apart. Then Texas will get a small expand. And then expand into the tribes. And then the Florida people will get a union with Texas. Yeah, they really needed that. Then okay, no, new nation. Maybe we go with the Hudson. Hudson Bay. So Hudsonia. Yeah, Hudsonia. Hudsonia. We'll start to expand around Hudson Bay. Round Hudson Bay. Then Mexico, they get the medium expand and they do were able to fight those tribals. They will win. They will win the fight with those tribals. And then they will start to absolutely clobber the Cubans. And then the South Argentinians will get a large expand. And will start to expand up Chile. And then up to this river. And then Hudsonia will then get a small split. And maybe go Quebec. Yeah, Quebec is that colour, totally. Right, that's our Quebec. South Argentina will then get another small expand. Right, we get another country. Where should we put these lot? I'm wondering. How about we go Ohio? No, Ohio's like there. Idaho? I don't know. I don't know US state names. I'm so sorry. So, yep. I think this is somewhere around Idaho. I have no clue. Okay, Texas might be in them for all I know. Yeah, my brain does not brain. Okay, didn't they just found a religion? So I'm like, maybe it's just a little bit weird, but they just go brownistic. Okay, right. Alaska will then get a medium expand. We'll start to expand into actual Alaska. Mexico will then get a small expand. And we'll start to continue to absolutely clobber the Cubans. Maybe because they're being funded. Michigan. Okay, no, a new nation. We go with what's that island called? Okay, we go with Newfoundland. Yeah, sure. Newfoundland. And they'll go in the Newfoundland area. River country tribe thing. We'll then get a large expand and we'll start to push up into this river. You would never have guessed it from the name. Okay, a new leader forms in Idaho. And Idaho then gets a medium expand, connecting up with Michigan and signing a treaty that will basically allow them to have full control over this region if they let the Michigans connect up. The Michigans will just get a new leader. Okay, Chile! Chile. Chile will fall. Chile. So yeah, Chile will split off. Socialist Reich, South Argentina will do nothing but found a religion. Because that's just how the South Argentinians rock. Zionism. Sounds kind of like Zionism, but isn't. Idaho will then adopt a religion. And they will adopt Brownistic. Merry Christmas, everyone. Argentina will then get a small expand. Come and go. come and go. Okay, then these lot will then get a split. So maybe we have North Chile?